She thought freedom would taste sweet. She imagined herself as the empowered divorcee, living her best life, posting wine memes about independence. Instead, she's 42, scrolling through her ex-husband's Instagram at 2 a.m, watching him take his new girlfriend to Paris, the same trip she begged him for during their entire marriage. He's in shape now, dressing better, smiling in ways she hasn't seen in years. And the worst part? She realizes she created this man. Her leaving forced him to level up, and now another woman gets the upgraded version while she gets dating apps and empty wine bottles. Let me explain what really happens when some women over 40 get divorced, and why the regret hits harder than they ever imagined. The post-divorce reality check comes fast and brutal. Some women spend years fantasizing about single life, the freedom, the adventures, the better men who surely await. Then reality hits. That adventure. It's sitting alone on Friday nights, that freedom. It's having no one who cares if you come home, those better men. They're dating women 15 years younger who don't have the baggage of a failed marriage. I counsel women in this exact situation weekly. They leave marriages thinking the grass is greener, only to discover it's astroturf. One client, 43, divorced her husband because he was boring. 2 years later, she's watching him post photos with his 29-year-old fiancé from Santorini, while she's getting ghosted by guys who can't even spell Santorini. The boring man who wanted quiet dinners at home is now living the life she thought she'd have without him. Here's what kills them the most: watching their ex become everything they wanted him to be, but for someone else. He starts working out. Those dad bod comments finally sunk in. He dresses better. That new woman has taste. He's romantic again because she appreciates it. He plans adventures because she's excited about them. The man who never wanted to do anything is suddenly Mr. Adventure, and it's eating her alive. The emotional disillusionment is profound. She thought she'd feel liberated. Instead, she feels abandoned. Not by him, he moved on. But by her own delusions about what post-divorce life would offer. The strong independent woman narrative crashes into the reality of being a middle-aged divorcee in a dating market that doesn't want her. Some women genuinely believe the divorce confirmed they made the right choice when they see him happy. See? He could have been this man all along. But here's what they miss. He couldn't be that man with them. Their criticism killed his enthusiasm. Their contempt murdered his romance. Their constant dissatisfaction extinguished his effort. He didn't change despite the divorce. He changed because of it. Women 35 and older face harsh dating realities that nobody prepared them for. Dating at 25 meant endless options, constant attention, men competing for their time. Dating at 42 means sparse matches with divorced men who are also damaged, bitter men who've been burned, or players who see them as easy targets. The power dynamic has completely reversed, and they're not equipped for it. The online dating experience for older women is particularly brutal. Some post profiles listing their accomplishments, good career, own apartment, independent, thinking these attract men. They don't understand that most men don't care about their career achievements. Men aren't looking for a business partner. They're looking for femininity, warmth, peace. But these women lead with their LinkedIn profile instead of their hearts. A 41-year-old client showed me her dating profile. MBA, homeowner, world traveller, wine enthusiast. I asked, "Where's the part that shows you'd be a loving partner?" She looked confused. "But I've accomplished so much." Yes, and men don't care. They care if you're pleasant, supportive, attractive, and won't make their life harder. Your degree doesn't make them feel loved. The delusional self-perception versus reality gap is staggering. Some women think being independent and successful makes them more attractive to men. It doesn't. It makes them more attractive to themselves. They project what they want in a partner onto what men want. Men aren't looking for another version of themselves. They're looking for complementary energy. The unrealistic standards in dating become comical if they weren't so tragic. A woman with 3 kids from 2 different fathers wants a childless man over 6 feet with a 6-figure income. A woman carrying 50 extra pounds demands a fit man with abs. A woman with credit card debt and no savings expects a financially successful provider. The entitlement defies logic. I see dating profiles that read like ransom demands. Must be 6 feet 2 inches plus, no kids, own home, good career, funny, romantic, adventurous, emotionally available but not needy, masculine but feminist, traditional but progressive. Meanwhile, she's offering baggage, bitterness, and bedroom photos from 2015. The math doesn't work. The entitlement to top-tier men, despite being nowhere near that tier themselves, is fascinating. These women spent their 20s and early 30s getting attention from high-value men who wanted sex, not relationships. They mistook sexual interest for relationship potential. Now at 40 plus, they still think they deserve those same men, but for commitment. Those men are dating 28-year-olds who haven't been damaged by divorce. Some women reject perfectly good men who would commit because they're still chasing the fantasy. The stable accountant who adores her, not exciting enough. The contractor who'd marry her tomorrow, not sophisticated enough. The teacher who treats her like gold, not wealthy enough. Then they complain about being alone while surrounded by options they refuse to see. The emotional victimhood and external blame game is exhausting to witness. It's never their fault. Men are immature, men are intimidated. Men can't handle strong women. Men don't want commitment. Never once do they ask, what am I bringing to the table that would make a quality man want to commit to me? The answer often is, not much beyond expectations and emotional damage. They use therapy speak to avoid accountability. Emotional labour, toxic masculinity, bare minimum, all phrases to paint themselves as victims rather than participants in their own romantic failures. Your ex didn't do the bare minimum. He provided, protected and stayed. You wanted more. That's fine, but own your choices. The casual dating backfire is painful to watch. Some women think they can play the same game at 42 that they played at 22. They get intimate quickly, thinking it'll lead to commitment. Instead, men get what they want and disappear. Then these women feel used despite knowingly entering casual arrangements with men who never promised anything. A client slept with a man on the second date, then was shocked when he didn't want a relationship. But we had such a connection. No, you had chemistry and poor boundaries. Connection requires time, trust, building something together. You gave him the prize before he even entered the race. Why would he keep running? The chasing men and masculine energy problem is real. Some women spend so much time pursuing high-value men that they forget men are supposed to be the hunters. They double text. They initiate everything. They chase men who show minimal interest. Then they wonder why these men don't value them. You can't negotiate desire, and desperation isn't attractive at any age. They admit to pursuing aggressively, then complain men don't make effort. But here's the thing. The men they're chasing have 10 other women doing the same thing. Why would he make effort when women are throwing themselves at him? And the men who would make effort, those are the ones they're ignoring. The simps enabling dysfunction make everything worse. These nice guys provide attention, validation, emotional support, gifts, time. Everything these women claim to want. But because it comes too easily, from men they don't have to chase, it has no value. The good man's devotion becomes proof of his low value in their minds. I watched a woman destroy a good man who worshipped her. Flowers weekly, planned dates, consistent communication, talked about future, treated her kids well. Her response? He's too available. There's no challenge. She left him for a guy who barely texts back. 6 months later, she's crying about how men don't make effort anymore. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. Some women reject good men and choose chaos because stability feels foreign. They're so used to drama, uncertainty, emotional roller coasters that peace feels like boredom. A man who's consistent feels predictable. A man who's kind feels weak. They're addicted to the anxiety of uncertain relationships because that's what they've normalized. The cycle repeats endlessly. High standards lead to disappointment, which leads to momentary self-awareness, which leads to lowering standards briefly. Finding a good man, getting bored, leaving, raising standards again, more disappointment. Round and round until they're 50 and completely alone, still believing they deserve a unicorn. The hitting the wall narrative isn't misogyny, it's mathematics. Dating options for women decrease with age while their standards often increase. At 25, average women have unlimited options. At 35, options shrink. At 45, they're competing with women 20 years younger for the same pool of quality men. It's not fair, but it's reality. A harsh truth. Men with options don't typically choose older women with baggage. The successful 45-year-old man these women want, he's dating the 32-year-old with less emotional damage, less baggage, more energy, more fertility. It's not personal, it's practical. Given choices, people choose easier, and younger women are typically easier relationships. The social consequences of divorce hit harder than expected. Some women lose their entire social circle. Married friends feel threatened or uncomfortable. Single friends are dealing with their own struggles, family members judge, the community they built over decades disappears. Suddenly they're 42 and starting over socially, which is infinitely harder than at 22. The loneliness is crushing. Not just romantic loneliness, social loneliness. No one to call with good news, no one who knows their history, no default Saturday night plans. The independence they craved becomes isolation they can't escape. The freedom they wanted becomes emptiness they can't fill. The comparison trauma when seeing their ex thrive is devastating. Every happy photo he posts feels like a personal attack. Every milestone his new relationship hits feels like proof of her failure. She'll obsess over what the new woman has that she didn't, not realizing the new woman's superpower might simply be appreciation and peace. Why wasn't I good enough? Becomes the question that haunts them. But here's the truth. They might have been more than enough. They just couldn't stop telling him he wasn't. They couldn't stop wanting more, demanding change, expressing dissatisfaction. The new woman might not be better. She might just be grateful. Some women internalize this as complete inadequacy. They were replaced by someone younger, thinner, prettier, happier. Every insecurity gets confirmed. Every fear realized. The rejection feels total because they don't understand that men don't leave for better. They leave for easier and more peaceful. The financial reality post-divorce is another shock. That dual income lifestyle, gone. That financial security, halved. That retirement plan, destroyed. Now she's 42, starting over financially, competing with people who've been building for 20 years uninterrupted. The house might be hers, but so is the mortgage, the maintenance, the loneliness within those walls. Dating costs for older women are different too. Botox, gym memberships, new wardrobes, dating app subscriptions, all trying to compete with women who need none of that to attract men. The investment versus return gets worse with age. Thousands spent to attract men who might take them to Applebee's. The biological reality can't be ignored. Some women leave marriages thinking they have time to find someone new and have more kids. By the time they realize the dating market is harsh, fertility is gone. The family they might have expanded with their ex is now impossible with anyone. The window closed while they were swiping. I counsel women dealing with this specific regret. They left good men thinking they had time to find better and have the family they wanted. Now they're 44, single, and the fertility ship has sailed. They traded a bird in hand for two in the bush, and the bush was empty. The sexual marketplace value decrease is real and brutal. At 25, their sexuality had immense power. At 45, that power is diminished. They're competing with OnlyFans, Instagram, younger women, porn, and exhausted men who've been through divorces themselves. The attention they once commanded is gone. Some women try to compensate with hypersexuality, thinking availability will create value. It doesn't. It attracts users and players who see desperation. The quality men they want aren't looking for easy sex from older women. They want meaningful connections with stable partners. The resentment toward younger women becomes toxic. Instead of accepting reality, some women become bitter toward women who have what they lost: youth, options, hope. They call them naive, stupid, lucky. They can't admit these women have what men want: beauty, fertility, enthusiasm, less baggage. The men are trash narrative becomes a coping mechanism. Rather than acknowledge their role in their situation, it's easier to condemn all men. Men won't commit. Men are players. Men are immature. Never. I chose wrong. I had unrealistic expectations. I destroyed something good. Online echo chambers reinforce these delusions. Social media groups full of bitter divorced women telling each other they're queens who deserve better. No accountability, no reality checks, just validation for destructive choices. They're all drowning, but telling each other the water's fine. The wine mom culture masks depression as empowerment. Day drinking becomes normalized. Wine o'clock gets earlier. Mommy juice. Jokes hide genuine alcoholism developing from loneliness and regret. But it's packaged as liberation, so the destruction continues unchecked. Some women realize too late what they had. The husband who was boring was actually stable. The man who was unromantic was actually consistent. The partner who was unambitious was actually content. They mistook peace for problems and created chaos from calm. The desperation eventually becomes visible, and it repels quality men even more. The trying too hard, the forced positivity, the obvious loneliness, the bitter undertones in conversations. Men sense it immediately. Desperation has a smell, and it's not attractive at any age. The social media performance becomes exhausting. Posting about living my best life while crying into wine. So happy to be free while checking his profile obsessively. Upgraded while downgrading in every measurable way. The performance fools no one, especially not themselves. Some try to return to their exes, but that door is closed. He's moved on, remarried, happy. The man who once begged her to stay wouldn't take her back for anything. She became his lesson, his motivation to find better. Her leaving was the best thing that happened to him. I've seen women show up to their ex's doorstep years later, expecting another chance. The shock when he's not interested, when his new wife answers, when they realise they're the past and someone else is the future. It's devastating but predictable. The regret compounds when they see their ex giving the new woman everything they wanted. The trips, the attention, the romance, the effort, all the things she complained he never did. But he is doing them, just not for her. The common denominator becomes undeniable. Some women craft revisionist history to cope. He was abusive, he was narcissistic, I had to leave for my safety. But friends remember differently. Kids remember differently. The evidence doesn't support the narrative. It's easier to demonize him than admit she destroyed something good. The children often become weapons or crutches, either used against the ex to hurt him or used as excuses for why dating is hard. Men don't want single mums becomes the cry, ignoring that plenty of men date single mothers, just not bitter, entitled ones with unrealistic standards. The kids suffer most. They watch their mother's bitterness, her failed dates, her wine-fueled rants about their father. They see her choices, her regrets, her loneliness. They learn that marriage is disposable, that fathers are optional, that happiness is always somewhere else. Some children choose their fathers when old enough, adding insult to injury. The woman who thought she'd be the preferred parent watches her kids choose the stable home over the chaotic one. The man she painted as inadequate becomes the preferred parent. The rejection is complete. The therapy industry enables rather than helps. Instead of accountability, they get validation. Instead of growth, they get excuses. Instead of change, they get coping mechanisms. Thousands spent to hear, "You deserve better," when what they need to hear is "You had better," and threw it away. The dating coaches selling hope to desperate women make fortunes. Find love after 40. Attract your soulmate. You deserve your king. But the math doesn't change. The market doesn't care about empowerment speeches. Reality remains undefeated. Some women eventually accept reality and find peace. They stop chasing, stop dating, stop pretending. They focus on friends, hobbies, children, career. They find contentment in single life rather than chaos in failed pursuits. These are the ones who actually heal. But many never learn. They're 50, still on dating apps, still holding out for Mr. Perfect, still believing they deserve what they rejected at 30, still thinking the problem is everyone else. The delusion sustains them because reality would break them. The few who find someone often settle for situations they would have rejected before. The man with health problems, the man with financial struggles, the man with his own baggage. The standards that cause the divorce finally meet reality. But by then, the good options are gone. Some become the other woman, accepting crumbs from married men. The same women who demanded everything now accept secret meetings and hidden relationships. The desperation leads to degradation. The empowerment narrative ends in being someone's secret. The irony is profound. They left marriages wanting more and ended up with less. They rejected good men for the possibility of great ones and ended up with none. They chose independence and found isolation. They wanted freedom and discovered emptiness. The ex-husband, thriving, is the ultimate pill to swallow. He's healthier, happier, more successful. The divorce she initiated became his liberation. The leaving she thought would destroy him actually freed him. He upgraded while she deteriorated. Some ex-husbands genuinely transform post-divorce. They lose weight, build businesses, travel, find younger partners, have more children. Everything she said he'd never do, he does. Everything she said he'd never be, he becomes. The potential was always there, she just couldn't access it. The new woman gets thanked for his transformation. She gets the credit for bringing out the best in him. But the truth is simpler. She just didn't beat the best out of him. She appreciated instead of criticized. She supported instead of demanded. She loved instead of judged. Men share these stories as warnings to other men. My ex-wife thought she could do better. Now she's alone at 45 while I'm remarried with new kids. These aren't revenge stories, they're reality checks. The grass isn't greener, you just weren't watering your own lawn. Women need to hear these truths before it's too late. That good man you're criticizing, he won't stay forever. That husband you think is boring, he's another woman's dream. That life you think is settling, it might be the best you'll ever have. The prevention is simple, but requires humility. Appreciate what you have. Work on problems instead of running. Value stability over excitement. Choose peace over drama. Recognize that perfection doesn't exist, and good enough is actually pretty great. Young women watching older women's regrets should learn. Don't throw away good men for perfect ones who don't exist. Don't mistake contentment for settling. Don't confuse drama with passion. Don't trade real for potential. The message for men is different. Know your worth increases with age if you maintain yourself. The woman who rejects you at 30 will regret it at 40. Build yourself, ignore the noise, and understand that time is on your side if you use it wisely. The wall remains undefeated. Biology doesn't care about empowerment. The dating market doesn't respect entitlement. Reality doesn't bend to delusion. Some learn this at 30 and adjust. Others learn at 45 and regret. The final truth is this. Some women over 40 get divorced expecting liberation and find devastation. They thought the problem was their marriage when the problem was their expectations. They blamed their unhappiness on their husband when happiness was always an inside job. The regret isn't just about losing him. It's about realizing they were the problem. The criticism, the dissatisfaction, the constant wanting more. It followed them into single life because it came from within. The common denominator in all their unhappiness was them. Some will read this and get angry, call it misogyny, claim it's bitter. But others will recognize themselves and maybe, just maybe, change course before it's too late. Before they become another cautionary tale of a woman who had everything and threw it away for nothing. The dating market is speaking clearly. Older women with baggage, bitterness, and unrealistic standards will struggle. This isn't hatred, it's mathematics. This isn't misogyny, it's market dynamics. This isn't unfair, it's reality. The ex-husband she thought was nothing special, he's someone else's blessing now. The marriage she thought was prison, it was actually security. The man she thought was holding her back, he was holding her together. And somewhere tonight, a 42-year-old woman is scrolling through her ex-husband's photos, seeing him live the life she wanted with someone who appreciated what she couldn't, wondering how she got everything so wrong. The regret is real, it's deep, and it's permanent. I want to hear from you. Have you watched someone regret their divorce? Have you seen the transformation after someone leaves? Are you the ex who leveled up after she left? Share your stories in the comments. Let's discuss the reality of what happens when some women over 40 gamble their marriage and lose everything.